The right of the people to keep and wear orange shall not be infringed. Welcome to the Cuse Militia Podcast with those two unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe. Give us a like on Facebook at Cuse Militia Podcast and follow on Twitter at Cuse Militia.
All right, what's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning in to the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. We appreciate that. So we've got your NC State preview today. We have a little bit of basketball news to go over first before we do that. But as always, before we get into anything, we got to hear from the folks over at MyBookie. If you're betting online and you're not getting matched dollar for your deposit, then you might as well just go over to MyBookie. Okay, because they'll match you dollar for dollar on your deposit up to $1,000, and they've been in business for years. We all know that. Their online reviews are great, just like ours, and their mobile site is easy to use. So I would only recommend a service to my listeners that's been good to me. That's why I'm urging you to make your way to MyBookie. You win, they pay. They have in-game live betting over/unders on fantasy points scored and the most rewarding player perks in the business. MyBookie is currently slammed with new bettors. So what they're going to do is if you deposit after 7 p.m. and you use promo code CUSE25, if you deposit at least $100, they'll give you an extra $25. So they'll give you $125 if you want to deposit during regular business hours. What you do is use the same old promo code CUSE. Okay, visit MyBookie online today. That's MyBookie. And don't forget to use either one of those promo codes. Again, they'll match you dollar for dollar up to $1,000. You play, you win, you get paid. MyBookie. All right. So, let's see. Where to start?
Where to start?
First of all, sorry that last episode was a little long, but Joe just wouldn't shut up.
Hi. Hey man.
So we had a lot to say, but it was good. I think it was good.
Well, so did the fans. Fan feedback.
There's
a lot.
True. And if you keep it going, and we're not saying 100 times because, sometimes we get stuck on the trip. But anyway, hey, if you haven't listened to episode 88, my interview with Dr. Don Staffo, he wrote a book, Jim Boeheim and Syracuse Basketball in the Zone. It was really fun doing that interview with him. I was really nervous because this guy's got more credentials in his lifetime than many of us could get in 5. So, yeah, but he was.
I was bummed I missed it. But.
Yeah, Joe missed it, but it was good. And
I'm gonna buy the book.
Joe's gonna get a book. If you want a book from Don, you can go to you can email him at dstaffo64@gmail.com, and you just you send him a check through the mail. I believe it's $32, and he will personalize it for you and send it to you. So that helps him out. If you do it that way, of course, you can always get it, Barnes & Nobles or whatever, but it's not going to be signed. And he does have a book signing coming up in Syracuse, so I will get that info out, actually. I just remembered that. So, all right. First things first, non-related, really, Syracuse issue. So I guess the NBA, they plan on creating a professional path, if you will. This is in the works to the G League, in the G League. And they're going to pay $125K salaries for anybody who is, the 5-star recruits, these one and dones that have been flooding.
Well, that's. I mean, it kind of does have something to do with Syracuse because Darius Bazley did it, right?
True.
From what I've understood, it's only going to really be a select few, like you said. It's almost like you almost need an invitation. I don't know if there's going to be tryouts or some type of combine or something, but
it sounds like you're not just going to be able to say it doesn't. You're not going to be able to admit yourself. I don't believe.
Right. No. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, everyone would do that.
So
how many high school kids would do that? Oh yeah. No.
Right.
No.
But obviously they can't accept all of them. So I mean, on the broad scope of this, and we don't exactly know how it's going to work, but you found out through the FBI investigation that you're pretty much having these players are on some level getting compensated for something. Okay. And the one and done stuff has been frustrating to fans. I'm sure it's frustrating to schools.
And players.
In players, yeah. So in this model, you can still be a one and done, essentially. So it doesn't like eliminate the problem. What it does is it takes the cream of the crop and takes them out of the NCAA.
No, it gives you an option.
Right.
Is what it does.
Right. So
if you think that taking $125,000 and taking your chance in the G League is worth, I don't know, just going to school for a year, not getting paid, and
name recognition,
yeah, exactly. You're being on the biggest stage that you could be at that level, and if you think that's going to help your draft stock, I mean, then that's what it is.
Well, I think it'll grow to where that won't even be a question anymore.
Right. Well, if a player can come in, not go to school, make $125,000, and only worry about their game, and go to the combine and prove themselves, then they made $125,000, and now they could be a top 10 pick still. You know what I mean?
Right.
But obviously it's yet to be proven. Basically, he said he was going to do it, and I think he found out through some I don't know if it was just some tryouts or whatever, but he found out that it was big boy basketball and grown men with bills and kids and families that were trying to make the NBA. So he went a different route, and he fell across some luck and got some money. But either way,
you got to mention it now.
Well, yeah, I'll mention it. He signed it. What it is, it could be up to a $14 million contract with New Balance, but it's minimum $1 million, and it's basically all performance based incentives as far as the rest of it. But if he wants to get to the $14 million, but hey, I mean, he's going to get $1 million, and he's sitting out and he's preparing himself for the NBA and the draft. So everyone chooses their own path, and not going to knock a kid for it. But again, this is why we're talking about this, right? Because really, this is the NBA putting pressure on the NCAA to compensate kids is really what it comes down to.
Right, and we had a small conversation about that last episode, didn't we? No, we didn't.
I mean, we touched on it, but I mean, it was either that one or the one before. But
well, we have a whole episode on it though, and
we do way back.
It was in this off season, but it's still relevant, right. And my views haven't changed on it. The NCAA is not going to provide a salary. Schools like Syracuse, I'm not sure. They're a lower budget school, as big as they are. It's a private school, so it's complicated.
Well, either way,
I don't want to get into the weeds with that, but
no, it's complicated. But again, like I said, what it's doing is it's basically giving the really good players a route to not have to go to college, and it's going to kind of clean up the little bit of the mess, but whether it's the 5 stars or the next level 4 stars, it's probably still going to happen. And again, like I said, what it's doing is it's putting pressure on the NCAA to do something, because now the NCAA is going to lose out on talent and possible, ratings when it comes to being able to have the best players playing college basketball.
And the other thing is they get to stay in the States now because they'll be able to play right out of high school now. You won't have to go overseas for a year or whatever it is and come back if that's what they decide to do.
Right.
What do you think it does to recruiting? I think you could take a good and a bad from it. If they're taking the cream of the crop, Syracuse is a team that doesn't usually get, those 5-star cream of the crop recruits, let's be honest. So most of those wouldn't even be on the table for teams like Duke. But what's going to happen is teams like Duke and Kentucky and those, they're just going to go to the next best.
They'll go to the next best, but still, I mean, that's something that they're going to have to kind of balance is how much, because there's only so many recruiting hours. There's only so many hours that coaches can be out on the trail. And if you're going to exhaust the majority of those hours on some of the best players and they just turn around and go to the G League for a year, then you might miss out on those next level guys. So it's definitely going to put a little bit of a different mentality probably, but I mean, those top guys those guys are looked at like they can come in and win a national championship for teams. So they're still always going to be highly sought out, but it would definitely be interesting to see how certain coaches and teams change their recruiting. I don't think it's going to do much with us, like you said, but different other teams, absolutely.
Yeah. So, we'll talk about. I enjoy talking about those types of things, the changes, because there's something needs to be done. But this is kind of a treading water change. It doesn't really. It just pushes the ball down the road for a lot of stuff. So, or kicks the can down the road.
I think it just puts more pressure on the NCAA.
Yeah, and
because I think the NBA is a growing sport. I mean, it is a very popular sport, and they definitely I mean, I know personally that you don't like it, but as far as ratings in the past couple of years and everything, I mean, it has by the numbers been growing. So it is a sport on the rise, and I think that they're going to be willing to put a lot more money into the developmental leagues and helping younger talent, because that's only obviously going to help their product as they grow. So if the NCAA is not going to help, and it's going to just kind of cause all this turmoil, and you're going to get all these NBA guys in the news about how they took money when they were in college and all this stuff, like that's just not a good look. So I think with the money that the NBA has been making, they're definitely pushing toward putting more funding and money into the developmental stuff. So the NCAA is going to be forced to have to do something.
Yeah, name and likeness is not like a huge deal. No one is hurt by that. The NCAA doesn't own these players, but like I said, I don't want to get into the weeds of this.
Right. So, well, no, we brought up a small little point because basketball season's coming up.
Right. So the basketball season's coming up, and Syracuse is going to play St. Rose. They got a 7:00 tip-off.
A little exhibition.
Little exhibition this Thursday. Very exciting. I don't think we're going to see – obviously, we're not going to see Howard. And I don't know if they'll throw Jalen Carey in there either. So
and Howard Washington is a no as well. So
right. So, but we'll get a little bit of an idea. First game is November 6th. So
first real game, yeah.
Yeah, first regular season game. So
yeah,
it's exciting, and it creeps up quick, doesn't it? It's like all of a sudden freaking basketball season.
No, it's the first time in a little while too that we've been preseason ranked. The AP preseason ranks came out.
Yep, 16th.
Ranked 16th. So, and this is just a little exhibition, but I think what makes this a little bit more intriguing to watch is the fact that everyone's kind of seen Howard Washington, and no one really knows, if he's going to be good to go for the season, if they're going to plan on redshirting him. Jalen Carey with the ankle, who knows if he's going to be good to go. Frank Howard, he's close to going. Everyone kind of knows what he brings to the table. So
his time frame was, something like
a week before the first game. So he'll probably start practicing sometime by the end of this week, early next week. But they just to know that, like, if it kind of goes the way that it goes, you'll have ties. I mean, it's a Division II team. It's an exhibition. But you're going to have ties battle playing point guard, and you'll probably see Elijah Hughes come up to the guard spot. I don't know, you might even see some walk-ons, Buddy Boeheim maybe.
I would say you would see Buddy Boeheim, sure.
Right, so you might see a little bit of that because you're going to see everybody, and we still are going to have Dolce and Braswell and Brissett on the wings with the two centers there. So it'll be interesting because it's going to be new faces. You'll be able to see what they can do, and also just a lineup that you're not going to see during the regular season. So, something just fun to watch. I mean, I probably would go if I was up at Syracuse.
It's basketball, so you just it is what it is. All right. So, anything else to add, real quick?
No, man. It's almost time to be double dipping, bro.
It's almost time to be double dipping. I love double dipping, and that means plenty of Cuse Militia podcast episodes
and sports games.
And I just wanted to ask you real quick. After it's been a couple days, we last recorded the UNC post game on Sunday. The game was still kind of fresh. The QB controversy was still kind of fresh. I was just wondering if you had any thoughts change over the past couple days, maybe as things got to settle in.
Monday morning quarterback controversy hangover.
Yeah, I mean it's everywhere. It's almost. Dude, it's
everywhere, dude. I know. ESPN, the Associated Press, they wrote a article about it. And Dino Babers spoke about it in his press conference yesterday.
And, well, obviously, the day. I mean, yeah. And what he has to say
the day of, but yes, obviously, and he alluded to the fact that, I mean, they threw the depth chart out there, and Dungy was ahead of it.
Right.
And,
well, if there was a change, it wouldn't be in there.
Right, and that's kind of what he elaborated. I don't understand. I mean, I get the media wanting to, and I watched that press conference, and it was so frustrating because I understand. He prefaced it with, I mean, almost the first question, he was just like, I'm not going to give him the upper hand. We're going to make him do this, and that, and then the media just keeps poking and prodding, and it was just so like
that's their job, though.
I know that's their job, and they want to break the story, but at the end of the day, I mean,
it's like let the dude freaking coach the team, man. You'll find out on Saturday.
Do you want them to win, or do you care about breaking a story and then giving the other team the upper hand?
Look, with all due respect, if it comes between a win or breaking a story, I mean, come on. They want to break the story.
Well, it's just what it does is just it kind of shows that just because they're the local media doesn't mean that they actually have a horse in the race. You know what I mean, so to speak. So
they act like they do a lot of times. Sure.
Right, so it doesn't mean that they're necessary. I mean, they could be from whatever city, and they could have grown up being another fan, and they might not even like Syracuse. So
right. It's not to say they don't. I'm just saying it's the impression.
Yes, I'm not going to say that. And at the end of the day, their only job is really to report about the local team. So I guess you really can't hate on them. I'm not going to ever really hate on somebody that chooses profession over fandom. But it's just like, as a fan watching it, you're like, dude, just get the point. Like, understand that he doesn't want to answer these questions.
He's not going to slip up.
Right. He's not going to slip up anyway. So why waste your question on something that,
Yeah, absolutely.
It was
he gets frustrated,
13, It was 11 to 13 minute press conference.
Right.
And the majority of it was him basically dodging those questions. So it was like,
he came straight out and said he was thinking about the answer to one. I can't remember what it was, but he's like, I'm not going to answer that. He said, I'm not going to answer that.
Of course. So,
but have your thoughts changed? Are you going to answer my question, or are you going to go off on another tangent?
Well,
have your thoughts changed? Here, I'll give you mine. Look,
why don't you go?
I'll go.
I'll tell you.
I'll go. My thoughts haven't changed that much from when we did the show, but when we won the game, I was like, Tommy DeVito made me forget about how really awful that game really was when he came in and did that. Okay? Yep. He made me forget about it until it was time to start putting the show together. And I'm like, man, this was really ugly. So there's something to be said there. And I do want to see DeVito. Now, if he doesn't start, I'm not going to be that upset, but I don't foresee that. I think he will start because I don't think Dungy is... I still think there's something going on there, and we've been saying week after week after week after week, okay, the bye week comes. Oh, he'll be better now. And it's just kind of the same thing. So I say he gets the start. Now, I do stick with what I said, though. There will be plays in there for Dungy, man, and I think it's only beneficial to Syracuse and to Dino Babers to run some special plays with Dungy. So, that's where I stand. I don't know if I said anything different than I did last time, but I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think that more and more, I think it's going to be leaning more towards a two-quarterback system, to be perfectly honest with you. Only because I think that, Babers kind of hit on it and talked about how Dungy, he didn't think when you went back and looked at the tape that he played that bad.
It's the span of the last 3 games, but he's not going to go up there and trash his starting quarterback either.
No, he's definitely not. But when you really do look at the numbers,
they're not great.
There were some drops. There was a fumble.
There were some issues with the receivers. Absolutely, you're right.
And it's tough to really compare because they kind of both are different quarterbacks, and they both bring 2 different really, really good attributes to the table when it comes to both of them, and they're the exact pretty much opposites. So
right, one's great on his feet, and the other one's accurate with the ball. So it's like, what do you want?
Right.
For the rest of the season.
And not to say that neither of them can do the other. They're the opposite, DeVito's not slow by any means. And Dungy, he has his moments where, he's, come on. He's been the guy for how many years? Up until this year, he was the only one that's won a game for us the past 3 years. So that's all we've known. So it's, sometimes it's hard to look at that and let it go. And I don't think it's going to be let go. I think no matter who starts, I think that you'd be crazy to think that you're not going to see both of them coming out probably at least like in the first half.
Right. So
I
the
can
answer
see them
is
switching quarters, maybe a couple possessions. I can maybe see them throwing DeVito out there and seeing what he does, seeing how NC State, But if he's going nuts, then, you might not see Dungy for a little while, and just change it up. I mean, this is a good thing to have.
Right.
Two.
It's absolutely good. Sure. Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, a lot of people say, oh, you have two quarterbacks and you don't really have one. And that's not always the case. So
the answer is no, your thoughts haven't changed, really, because that's basically what we already said.
Pretty much, yes. I think, well, like I said, my only worry is the fan base. Because we're kind of in the minority of how we think as far as the fan base goes, especially towards football. And I just am worried that if they come out and start Dungy and he plays into, or the whole first quarter, if you play the whole first half and DeVito hadn't played, then there's going to be a problem.
There might be a problem.
Unless Dungy comes out and just lights it up, and then everyone's going to forget about it. But
right. But the other thing is, too, real quick, and then we got to wrap this up. They've kind of been pushing the ticket sales for this primetime game with a lot of the fans are in the impression that DeVito's going to be the one walking out there. Now, they haven't said...
That's who they want to see.
I know.
But they haven't said they're not going to say either.
No, I'm talking about, like the organization is pushing the ticket sales and all this stuff. It's everywhere.
Well, of course.
So
it's very rare that we get a 7 o'clock night game.
I know, at the Dome. It's going to be special. Yeah. It's going to be awesome. So, anyway, all right. Well, how special will it be? I don't know. Let's see. All right, look, no fan feedback today, as I forgot to even present anything. I hadn't put a poll out or anything. But get the reviews in. Go to the iTunes, wherever you listen. Well, if you listen on iTunes, go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Don't give us any 1-star stuff. Joe's really sensitive about that, and he gets really upset, and we don't want Joe upset. So give us the 5-star. Give us the 5-star, and give us a good review. If I read the review on the show, you'll get the Cuse Crate. It comes in an envelope, but it's called the Cuse Crate, and it's full of goodies. Just
By the way, I don't remember us having that conversation where we both agreed that it was going to be called the Cuse Crate, but I'll let you run with
it. Well, I took liberty there. So
I know that's fine. That's fine.
So the Cuse Crate comes in an envelope. You can go online. You can go see what Spudmall got 5, and his name's Michael. And I retweeted his tweet, so you can just go to our Twitter timeline. You can see all the good stuff you can get. I even give you extra stuff for your friends. So go to iTunes, give us a review. We appreciate it, and make sure it's good. Otherwise, Joe will be upset. All right? All right.
Yeah.
So Saturday, October 27th, 7 p.m., we talked about that. Number 22, NC State, comes to the Carrier Dome. And they sit at 5-1 overall, 2-1 in the ACC. They just lost their first game to Clemson. They got smoked. They missed a game. They're one of the real tough games that would have been coming down the stretch here, coming into Clemson, would have been the West Virginia game, and that got canceled because of the hurricane, the first one that rolled through Carolina, right?
Yes.
So, and after that was Marshall. They played Virginia. Virginia's on the rise. Boston College, they beat Boston College, and then they got smoked by Clemson. So they're not doing too bad, but I'll tell you what, Ryan Finley, he ranks like 39th in passing efficiency, 10 TDs, 5 interceptions. 2 of the interceptions came at Clemson, though, and his completion percentage is like 68.3. So he's really consistent. He's good. He's really good. And 1,777 yards, so they're efficient on offense.
Yeah, he's an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, so that's scary, because we got smoked by Nathan Elliott last week. So, Joe.
Yeah.
Joe's my bookie pick. Joe's my bookie pick is back this week. In case everybody missed it, I know I missed it. right?
No.
You guys know the promo codes, man. You know the promo codes. If you're going to deposit after 7 o'clock, use promo code Cuse25. And if you deposit $100, they'll give you $125 back. That's $225 to play with. If you're going to deposit during normal business hours, just use the regular promo code. That is promo code Cuse. They will still match you dollar for dollar. Up to $1,000. You play, you win, you get paid. All right. So
yes,
the line came out with Syracuse as a 1.5-point favorite. And it has now shifted to NC State as a 2-point favorite, Joe.
Oh, 3.5-point swing, huh?
This is a tough. This is probably one of your toughest ones, I would say.
No, after losing last week.
Yeah. Did you lose last week again?
I'm on 0-2.
Oh, you're on a 2-game losing streak right now? Oh,
yeah, man.
Damn, son. Damn.
I know.
Is it ironic that your record is the same as Syracuse's?
I don't think it is.
No, I think there's something to that, bro. Both 5-2. All right. Well, all right.
That's because I've been picking Syracuse every week, and when they win, they cover. So.
All right, brother. You take it. It's all you now.
Well, I think that NC State is definitely one of those teams that they have an NFL quarterback. They have some NFL receivers, but they lost a lot of people from last year. And I think, you kind of named the teams they played earlier. Yeah, Virginia's on a roll now, but, it could have been one of those things with us and Florida State. Florida State's kind of on a roll now. I think they're 4-3.
Yeah, they started to come back. They changed it.
Yeah, so, maybe they just caught them early, and now they just catching fire. So, honestly, with that shift, usually Vegas really isn't wrong as far as that goes. And with that shift, and honestly, I just think that NC State really is kind of a little overrated. They like to talk about, we can talk about it later. But yeah, my pick is Syracuse +2.
Well, you're gonna take that.
This is the thing is this is the last 2 years we've beaten a ranked team in the Dome, and this year we're undefeated in the Dome, and this is our last opportunity to be a ranked team in the Dome. So,
yeah, I'll be at 22nd, but yeah, I think they have a legit shot.
No, absolutely, I do.
Yeah, they've just got to they got a game plan right, and they got to,
Yeah,
it's going to take some work. It ain't going to be easy.
No, you get off the schneid. Syracuse gets bowl eligible, and I get back on the winning roll with my bookie. So.
Yeah, and so does Syracuse. Well, how do you see it breaking down?
Well, the breakdown for me, they have a decent running attack with Gillespie, but where their bread and butter is throwing the ball with Ryan Finley, play action, that kind of stuff. He's only been sacked, I believe, three times this year. Yeah. So they definitely have good protection around Ryan Finley, and as much as they want to kind of say, they say it all the time, I'd rather get killed than lose a close game because it's easier to come back from. That's kind of their mentality. I listened to Dave Doran's press conference, and that was one of the questions that was presented to him, and he said something about it, but I don't really think that was the case. If you watch the first half, they had the ball down just 14-0 really, really late in the second quarter going into halftime. So that first half, they were there. They were giving it their all, and they were doing their best to try. And so it's just very tough for me to, see a team and the teams they played against and see the way that their game at Clemson went compared to us. Now, Trevor Lawrence has been starting, so Clemson's probably a little bit better today than they were when they played against us. But still, I don't think this is one of those teams that's like the NC State of last year. The NC State of last year was good, and we gave them a run.
Yeah, at their home.
At their home. So, yeah, I think it's about time that we get them back.
We're 1-10 against them. The only time we beat them was the first year in the ACC.
That first year in the ACC, it was a home game. We ended up beating them. But other than that, they played pretty good at the Dome and against us. But I think I just see it going a little bit differently. Good offenses have been able to score against this team, and again, our biggest problem was and has been against the run. And this team doesn't really run as good as the other teams that we have played against. There's really not going to be too many run-pass option because Ryan Finley isn't a runner. I mean, he can run off of some play actions, and if you really give him the space, but
he must have hell of a pocket then if he's only been sacked 3 times.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing. So, if they nickel and dime us, then it could look like it's going to get bad. But that's all Nathan Elliott from North Carolina. That's all he did, really.
Yeah.
He didn't really throw it. Every time he threw it down the field, there really wasn't anything. So, I like our chances, man, and I like our chances of being able to pull a good crowd. And again,
be rowdy.
It kind of. Well, yeah, we have to.
Yeah.
And especially after the way that this last game came, and that's kind of the reason why I think that Dino's kind of got to start.
Tommy.
Yeah, and that's really.
Oh boy, you're right. That's a great point, because that crowd would be going nuts, especially if he just rips one down there on the first series and scores.
Right.
Because
like you always said, I mean, there's never been a situation where Dungy's been the guy that's come in after somebody else. And the whole thing is that, I mean, if people are going, or if we get more than expected tickets, it's because they want to see Tommy.
It is,
and it's sad, but that's what it is. People have seen Eric Dungey for 3.5 years, and like I said, his magic has seemed to kind of fizzled out with the fan base. And
well, we need the aggressive Dungey,
right? Right, and that's kind of the flip side with that too. Is if you allow him to play the game he played, and then you saw what happened, and then you just give it back to him. That kind of really, it's just kind of not really. I don't know. It doesn't really go with me pretty well. You know what I mean?
Coach said he's going to be fair. So what coach is going to do?
He's going to be fair, and what's fair is that guy just came in and won the game.
Right. That's what I was going to say. What coach is going to do is he's going to take that game into consideration. And here we are talking about quarterbacks again. Just like it's like freaking contagious. What he's going to do? They have practice this week, so he's going to take everything into consideration. He's going to be fair about his decision. Let's be honest. It is his guy. So,
yeah,
not to say Dungey is not his guy, but he recruited DeVito. So,
right. But I'm just saying, like, how the team was energized before. Like, the team's going to come out pumped up, especially if they know that Tommy's going to be in there from the beginning, just because, like we said, that there was a little bit of a change in emotion when he came in last game. So, carry that over and then allow the fans to carry that over, because I think that is what is going to pull a pretty good crowd on Saturday, and allow them to be in it from the beginning. I mean, imagine, like I said, there might be people that get up and leave if Dungey comes out to start. I mean, I'm just serious. As far as
I know,
some of Syracuse fans, you know what I mean? So allow them to kind of bask in the moment. And you know what? If DeVito comes in there and an NC State game plan for him and he doesn't play that well, then it would just be showing the fans like, hey, maybe it was kind of one of those situations where, lightning in a bottle type thing. And now it's like, okay, now Dungey's going to come back in and maybe that's going to be the thing that lights a fire up under a Dungey, is him having to come in and save somebody that he's never had to do. So, or they do the 2 quarterback situation and keep North Carolina State guessing and on their heels, and it works out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's multiple options, but I think the safest bet, especially with the fan base and the mood of the team and the community and everything, is you got to start Tommy and got to hope for the best. But I think we're going to get it, man. I think that what happened this past week, I think, is going to be
riding high on the momentum. You've got a possible, could be the largest crowd of the year. I mean, I know a lot of people
going to be.
A lot of people showed up for Florida State, and let's be honest too. Here's the truth.
So that's the name.
Yeah, absolutely. But and here's the truth. It leads me to this: we haven't played but one really good team this year.
Yeah.
And we sit at 5-2, and that's good. I'm happy with that. I don't care who we play to win, as long as we win. I don't care how the wins come, as long as they're wins. But NC State will be the second best team we've played this year. So
yes,
we need to seize the opportunity, seize the day, man. The game against Clemson was close. We beat Clemson in the Dome last year. It was epic. And I mean, there's a lot.
And Virginia Tech the year before that.
Yeah, there's.
Like I said,
I'm not comparing this NC State game to those though, but I'm just saying is a comparison. It's a high emotion game, and it's a ranked team coming into the Dome, and it's going to be a big crowd, and the players love that stuff. If you don't think they do, you're wrong.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
they do.
Absolutely.
And like I said, I'm just looking at trends. I'm looking at the fact that every year that Dino Babers has been there, we've beaten a ranked opponent at home, and this is our last opportunity.
Yeah.
And again, I just think that you got to come out and you got to do what you need. You got to do what you got to do, man. I mean, look where we're at right now. Even if you look back at how close we could have been to this or that, right now, if you would have looked at it from the beginning, and we do this almost every single week, but you got to look at the perspective from the beginning of the year. We already surpassed. By the way, anybody who voted the over or betted the over in the beginning of the year for wins for Syracuse, congratulations. We have 5 games left, and you have already won.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, just kudos on that. But again, like I said, like if you look back at the beginning of the year and you let somebody look at the schedule and you say, hey, if I tell you that we're 5-2 right here playing against NC State, would you be happy?
Hell yeah.
Or would you think that that's a great, we're in the exceeding expectation mode still.
Right.
So, and we're also in the culture change mode.
Plus, there's a bowl game riding on this game too.
Well, there's a bowl game riding on it, but I mean,
there's a bowl game riding on every game from here on out, obviously.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying. This is their first opportunity to solidify that.
Well, yeah, it would be nice to absolutely get it out of the way.
Right.
But, I mean, again, I think it just comes down to more of like, I mean, it's almost like the changing of the guard, the change of culture, and all the while during a pretty wild season in which 2 plays go one way or another, and we could be undefeated right now.
Yeah, it could be 7.
And we're talking about, when we're talking about quarterback controversy, that's what's crazy. 2 plays we could be undefeated, and you're just talking about
that's what if it bleeds, it leads, brother. That's the nature of the news.
Right. Oh, that's the nature of the news, absolutely. But as far as perspective wise,
perspective-wise, yes.
That's a good problem to have.
It is.
Especially in the fan base when you see all these young players stepping up and doing these things.
And we're not talking about firing Babers or
no, we're not talking
stupid
about firing
like that.
Babers. No, absolutely not. We're talking about
which quarterback we want to start. Which one of these great quarterbacks should start.
Right. And what's gonna happen is it's gonna start stemming off of other positions. Like when Jarvian Howard started doing. Now, what are you going to do about Jarvian? Now everyone wants that Jarvian Howard should be getting more carries. Jarvian Howard should be, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I've been saying that.
Right. Taj Harris. Melifonwu or whatever, the cornerback, number 23 there. I mean, after last week, how can you not say, I mean, hey, he might be able to start over Scoop Bradshaw.
Melifonwu.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's one of those things where you're starting to – the arguments of our program is – damn, these younger players should be playing over these other guys. Like that's a positive argument. If you ask me.
Hey, ACC conference. Yeah. I'm not trying to cut you off, but you just reminded me of something. ACC all conference defense had Andre Cisco, who he made what they call the national team or whatever.
Right.
Who else was on there? Ryan Guthrie. And Melifonwu. Speaking of Melifonwu. It's the funnest name to say in football.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Wrap it up, Joe. Wrap it up. Should I even hand the floor to Joe again, guys?
Dude,
because
I'm just saying.
Because, holy cow, this guy can talk. Whew. Boy.
But they listen. So
we did take a poll not too long ago. Huh?
I'm fired up about this weekend, man. So
I know. I'm
going to be watching it with an NC State fan, too.
Ooh. Oh, yeah, that's right. Your girl's brother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, look, congrats to the defensive players I just mentioned getting their awards for the all-conference defense this week. That's pretty awesome. And I'm going to start mentioning those. I keep forgetting them, but there's usually someone on there, which is awesome, which we never bring it up. So right. The power rankings are out, but who really gives a crap? Because they're a mess. And even Chris Carlson, on the headline of his own piece, said they're a mess. So we know who's number 1. We're playing for number 2 right now, in my opinion. This game against NC State is for number 2 in the power rankings for the ACC, I think, in my opinion. Depending on a couple other things.
You got Virginia, Miami
I know.
there. But
I said, depends on a couple other things, but I mean, let's be honest. So, all right. Hey.
Something else?
Oh, jeez. I'm crawling.
I'm just saying, hey, tomorrow, ACC Media Day for basketball.
Okay.
So look out for the press conferences from Jim Boeheim and the players.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Hey, thank you guys for listening. Thanks for we didn't do fan feedback, so screw you guys. Thanks to James on guitar. Thanks to my bookie.
Give us more.
Thanks to get those reviews in. Thanks my bookie. Thanks James Guitar. Thanks Armchair All Americans. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Bye.
This has been the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. Be heard. Contact us on Facebook at Cuse Militia Podcast and tweet at us using #CuseMilitia.